This is Ella, author Like a Boss, and I am here to talk to you guys today about how to effectively use social media. Okay, now, no matter what you write, if you are going to author like a boss, you need to be engaging with your audience on social media. Okay, building relationships with your readers on social media is the easiest and cheapest way to utilize the most effective marketing strategy, which is word of mouth. Okay, so that's why all this month, every week this month, I am going to be talking about how to engage your ideal readers and fellow authors on social media. Hi, Bonnie. Welcome. Okay, so who here has thought about engaging with your possible fans on social media, but you stopped because you're an introvert, you were nervous, or maybe you just didn't know how? Like, how many people has that happened to? 1 to 10, or just say, yep, me. I think there's a little lag time. Has anybody thought about, maybe I could start interacting with people on social media, but I'm not sure how? Danny, me. Hi, Danny, but I know you're doing it now. Okay. Yeah. I like engaging, but no one wants to engage with me. Oh, okay. Oh, Cassandra, we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out over the course of the month. Make sure that you get some engagement. Okay. So it's totally normal. It's totally normal to be nervous or not know how, or to be kind of hesitant because you're an introvert. It's totally normal. But obviously it's something you want to get over because you know it's the best way, and it's cheap and it's effective if you know how to do it right. So today we are talking about social media is social. So what general posts and why people come to social media. You guys know I'm a top-down person. So I'm like, here's the general concept behind behind how to engage on social media. And then so that's the first point, is the social part and what that means for you guys. The second part is the benefits of befriending authors in your genre on social media. And the third part of this video is knowing your genre. And like, knowing your genre, how does that have to do with social media? You'll see. Okay, so if this sounds good to you guys, of like social media and befriending authors on social media and knowing your genre, if this sounds good to you, give me a heck yeah or an emoji or whatever if you are ready to dive in. Okay, Bonnie says, I have a WordPress poetry blog and have Facebook pages, but I hate to sell myself. I know, it's so yucky, but I have some tips for you. Selling yourself is not good. It sounds prostitutional, but that's not what we're talking about. Okay, hey Summer. Okay, so the first point, you guys, is that social media is social. Now, why is this important for effectively using social media? People don't come to social media to purchase things. Okay, nobody comes to Facebook in the mindset to purchase, or they don't go to like Twitter or to Instagram like, what should I buy today? Let me go to Twitter and check it out. This is not how it works. People go to Amazon to buy stuff. Okay, they don't go to social media to buy stuff. It's called social media because it's social. So what do people come to social media to do? And this is that part. This is where I'm saying, you like, don't go on to social media and just post your book and say, buy my book, because you're turning people off immediately, because when they go to social media, they're not there to buy. And by offering something to purchase as your first interaction, you're turning people off because they're not there to buy. They're there to be social. And people spend time. The socialness shows up as these three things. Okay, you guys, people come to social media for relationships. And this shows up as they're looking for pics of their friends and family. And they're like, oh, look, Susie got into college. Like, they're catching up with old friends. That's the maintaining relationships. So they spend time on social media for relationships. The second thing is entertainment. They'll come to social media for entertainment. And this shows up as, oh my gosh, a post of baby goats in pajamas. Ah, so cute. Okay. Right? Everybody, if you've been that person, go ahead and let me know. I am definitely a baby goat in pajamas fan. Okay. The third thing they come to social media for is information. So it might be something like, who won the game last night? The Eagles. And it was a couple nights ago. And then, or something like, has Sarah J. Maas published her next book? You know, they'll come for information to social media, but they don't come for selling. Okay, so what this means for you, you guys, Bonnie, okay, is that we don't have to sell things on social media. And because women, particularly, you guys, all you ladies here, we are really good at building relationships. And relationships is the number one thing that people come to social media for. So how fortunate we are that we have access to this free software. Thank you, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that allows us to build relationships with our fellow authors and ideal readers. So that's the first key, is to not think about coming to Facebook to try and sell stuff. You're coming to Facebook to meet people. And that feels a lot better. Tell me, Bonnie, does that feel a little bit, or anybody, does that feel better to you than trying to sell things? But in fact, to get to social media to meet new people who might just happen to be fellow authors or your ideal readers. Okay, like, yes? That was a question mark. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So the barrier to getting on social media is really a mindset thing, right? Because obviously the tech isn't that difficult. Like, you guys all know how to use Facebook. You're here with me on Facebook. So I know you can do that. The barrier to building these relationships is in our mind. So if you want to get some extra help in getting into the right mindset, this is absolutely something we talk about in the Author Boss Academy. We actually walk you through, like we just did a masterclass, and it was, I think Danny can attest to the fact that it's working, where we actually guide you through the exact type of posts to that help people engage effectively. Okay, so if you want to know more about the Author Boss Academy, stay tuned. Okay. The second point we're talking about is the benefits of befriending authors. Okay, so within the context of, you're not trying to sell to people, you're trying to build relationships. Now we're going one step down and being like, okay, who are some of the people you want to build relationships with? Authors. Okay, authors, fellow authors in your genre. Okay, now my first thing, and I'm just saying this all the time now because I was a little bit surprised at how, anyways, start now reading the books of other self-published authors in your genre. Okay, that's just my caveat. All your marketing will be helped by actually reading the books of other self-published authors in your genre, not just your writing, but your marketing as well. Okay, and the reason why you want to start befriending these other authors in your genre is because their audience is your potential audience, right? So if you can befriend somebody who has a book that's similar to your book that you're writing right now, the people who like her book are the people who are going to potentially like your book. So if you can befriend her, then you can start engaging with her audience. Now, the reason that this might seem like a little bit like, well, I don't want to steal her friends. It's not like that, because if you can help provide these other authors good content, one of the challenges of social media, which it looks like Cassandra is one of the challenges, coming up with posts and different content to engage people. You're like, I constantly have to give them content because you want to keep them engaged, because you want them to be there and ready when your next book comes out. Okay, so if you can help your fellow authors come up with good content and good engagement, you are doing them a benefit. And then if the audience just so happens to also want to buy your book, then there's no, that doesn't hurt that author, because readers we're in an abundant market, which I've talked about before as well, and I will continue to talk about. People don't just buy one book, so they'll buy her book, they'll buy your book, and they'll keep reading. I love readers. Oh, I love writers. Okay. Befriending other authors also sets you up for possible newsletter swaps, giveaway opportunities, book recommendations and reviews, exchanging space or snippets at the back of each other's books. I don't know if you've seen that. I have, where you get to the end of the book and they're like, get a sneak peek of Barbara Snow's next book, and it has like a full chapter at the end of the other person, of your, of another book. You can do that for each other. And then, or they are possible launch party participants, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there's a lot of possibilities that come from befriending and building a relationship with other authors in your genre. Okay. So does this make sense? Because everybody see the benefits of befriending other authors and the potential there, but also in a feel-good way, because you get to offer help. Does that, like, you get to help them. A newsletter swap, both people benefit from, right? Exchanging snippets at the back of the book, both people benefit from. It's not, you're not taking and not without giving. It's a win-win. So can you guys see the benefits of that? Yes. Okay. I'm going to move on. The third point that we're talking about. So you noticed that I was like, befriending people in in your genre, right? And that's why the next point is know your genre. Okay, Bonnie and Barbara. Because Bonnie, I saw your post. I saw your post yesterday on the intro post, and I was like, I think I want to introduce Bonnie to Barbara, because your question about magically spiritual genre, please get in touch with each other. Thank you. Okay, genre is marketing, you guys. Genre is marketing, period. Okay, it's not. Okay, so when publishers have a book that falls in between two genres, where do you think they put it on the shelf? Like, if it falls between romance and it falls between fantasy, where will they put it? On which shelf will they put it? And I'll tell you, it's the genre that they know will get the most sales. Like, they'll put it where they'll get the most sales. That's because genre is marketing. Yes, Cassandra. Gold star, Cassandra. Okay, so that's how you know that genre is marketing. And so when I say you need to connect with other authors in your genre, how are you going to do that? Now, here, you don't want to have an original genre. Your book can be original, but your genre cannot be original. So when people find out the genre of your book, this is what you want them to either deselect themselves, so let's say, what kind of book do you write? Oh, I write a fantasy book. If the person doesn't read fantasy, then you're like, oh, they're like, oh, I don't read fantasy. Period. That's over. They're not your ideal reader, which is good, because you want them to self-select. The other place where that shows, the other side is, if you say, oh yeah, I write fantasy, and the person's like, and a person is a fantasy reader, they're like, oh, you write fantasy? Does it have dragons in it? So you want them to either deselect themselves or get curious. So if somebody is your ideal reader and they hear your genre, they want to know more. Okay, so that's why it's so important to have a genre that people can recognize. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a fantasy reader. If you come up with something like magically spiritual, because it's unknown, there's no way for them to get curious about it, because they don't know what it means. So they might be your ideal audience, but they might not know if they might not be able to self-select themselves because they don't know what it means. So you want to have something that they can recognize so they can get curious or deselect. So to find out your genre, think about some books that are kind of similar to yours. And I know your books are original. I'm not saying they're not. Your books are obviously original. Your stories are completely original because they're from your imagination. But try and think of some books or ask some people who have read some of your books what other books they're a little bit similar to, because that's what you're kind of looking for. And then go look up those books on Amazon and see what categories Amazon has them in. So if you find like 3 or 5 books that you're like, okay, and you start seeing certain categories that they're in, okay, that are similar to yours, then look and see, okay, feel which one feels right for your book. So if you have something that's like it's a sword and sorcery, but it's a Viking related sword and sorcery versus a completely, maybe a British related sword and sorcery, if it says something Vikings, obviously you're not going to adopt that for your genre, but find the ones that feels right for you and own that genre, because then people can self-select. And it's so much easier to find your ideal readers when you know what your genre is. Plus, it's so much easier to connect with other authors in your genre when you know what your genre is. Okay, bonus tip. When you're finding these books that are similar to yours and you look at the customer also bots, those are some of the books to start reading, especially the ones by self-published authors, because self-published authors are going to be much more willing to befriend you and promote each other marketing wise than traditionally published authors. Okay, so bonus tip. Okay, so does this make sense to you? I see Bonnie has a good idea. Thank you, Bonnie. It is a good idea. Cassandra says, ask what they like to read. If they don't usually read your genre, you can recommend other books and still leave on a positive note. This is so true. It's so true. It's being helpful is always good. Like, leave people on a positive note, and being generous means you're in a generous vibe, whereas people will be generous for you back. Okay, if you're worried about the logistics or are just having a hard time doing this, like if mentally you're just like, this is so much work, or if you're like, I'm not sure, or if you just want more help, this is something we actually walk you through step by step in the Author Boss Academy. So you can find out more about the Academy. I will give you a link in a minute. So it's time to take action for today's Facebook Live. Okay, make a list of 3 books that are similar to yours. Find them on Amazon and see which categories they are in, okay? And pick the category that's most like yours. And then look at the also bots or recommended. And if there's some self-published authors, which you can usually tell by the price, just make note of those authors. Maybe go find them on Facebook, and those are your new potential people to friend. Anyways, we'll get into this later. Okay. So next week, I'm talking about where to find your ideal readers on social media. So you want to come to next week's. If you'd like to find out more about the Author Boss Academy, please come and join us at the How to Author Like a Boss webinar, which I just put the link to. It's on Friday, but you can join and sign up for the webinar here with me and Megan. In the Academy, we have a lot of amazing authors who are doing the same thing you guys are doing. We tell you where to post, what to post, how to make the posts amazingly engaging and really feel really natural for us as women, because we have a really hard time sometimes putting ourselves out there. But I've got some tricksy secrets about putting yourselves out there that makes it easy even for introverts. Right, Danny? We have video tutorials, step-by-step worksheets, like weekly live calls, and where you actually get to ask us one-on-one questions, and a private Facebook group. So if you are curious about that, there's no commitment to purchasing by signing up for the Author Like a Boss, How to Author Like a Boss webinar training. Plus, there's some good info there. So we'd love to see you there. Next week, again, we are talking about where to find your ideal readers on social media. So where are you going to find these people? Where do they hang out? We'll talk about it next Tuesday. And one last thing, if you want to get reminders of when I'm going live and when Megan is going live, we can send you a note via Facebook Messenger, and it goes out like a minute or two before we go. So you have a chance to come to the group, and then you won't miss our lives. So if you want to sign up to get that, it's just a Facebook message. Ella's about to go live, and it has a link. Go ahead and sign up there at the authorlikeaboss.com/notify. And then you push the button that says send to Messenger. And that way we will send you a quick Facebook message right before we go live. So you don't have to miss any of our loveliness. Okay. Okay, you guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to be talking about how to engage people on social media, your ideal readers and fellow authors on social media all month. So we're going to have fun with this topic. I'm so looking forward to helping you guys author like a boss, and I will see you later. Bye.